I never imagined that I actually discussed this topic, but I think it's a topic that we all identify with, and that is anger. Now, what is anger? I mean, just for a moment, forget the dictionary term. Let's understand anger from our own terms, the way we describe it. What is anger? Is it a beast that's within inside us? Is it energy? Is it a prison that seems to grab us every single day? Well, we have our own interpretation of anger because we get affected in different ways that cause anger to arise. Now, why am I talking about this topic? Well, many of us have fallen victim to anger, and many of us may have done things we truly regret. And in this discussion, I hope I can share some light on my own experiences of anger, and what I think may be able to offer some help to those of you listening out. Now, let's be honest. You were probably curious about the title of the video. Yes, that's one part of it. But maybe at the same time, you might have a history with anger, a very terrible relationship. A relationship that's been with you for many years. It's something you know you want to fix, but at the same time, you know it's not going to be easy. I'm not promising you success. I'm not promising you hope. I'm just trying to share my story, and maybe there's something that we can discover together about this problem. Have you ever been through this whereby your anger has caused you to lose something? Lose someone, lose something. That's what anger can do, really. It can really turn a good thing into a disastrous outcome in just a few minutes. Few seconds. That's why it's very dangerous. Very dangerous. With the stresses of life and the people that we interact with, it's no wonder people are getting angrier and angrier. But anger is not the solution to anything. And there can never be a positive outcome from anger. Now, anger is still natural. It's not something you should be blamed for. It's more about how you react. Whatever you've read in self-help books, they're telling you the truth. It's not about being angry, it's about how do you react to anger. But why am I making this video? That's exactly it. My reaction to anger has caused me a lot of loss in life. A loss of time, a loss in relationships, a loss in health. You're probably in the same situation as me. That's why you're here. You and I both want solutions. Solutions to this beast, this demon, this horror that lives within us. Throughout history, humans have committed terrible acts of violence or atrocious acts of aggression due to high levels of anger, and especially spur-of-the-moment anger. This is what's caused a lot of problems in people's lives, is the spur-of-the-moment anger. There are many cases of people who have beaten up their wives, their family members, said very bad things that they wish they never said. Are you one of them? Are you one of those people that have hurt someone in your life? Has someone left you as a result of your anger? It is a sad thing to admit to. Imagine the case of a man who really loves his wife. He adores his wife with all his heart. When times are high, he can say many sweet words. This is probably the reason why many women never leave their husbands so early in an abusive relationship, because of that. They try to justify his anger, or maybe let's say they cover his anger with those memories of good times. But unfortunately, those bouts of anger keep repeating themselves. And you know, the human being eventually succumbs to pressure, and then of course they break. Has someone left you as a result of numerous bouts of anger? Do you sit at night and still remember that person you love, that person you miss, and wish you never ever got angry with them, thinking if you had one more chance, you would never ever be angry at them again? It's very easy to say that you would do that, but within time, you probably go back to the same habit. What's wrong here? Why is it that I love someone so much, yet I still end up committing horrible acts against them, using such nasty language, uncalled for name-calling, harsh words? What is it? There's something wrong here. Anger is the problem. Anger is completely irrational. It really doesn't have any meaning. Think about it. Once you've recovered from the bout of anger, imagine you actually did carry out that aggressive act against your partner, against your brother, against your sister. Imagine that evil voice in your head telling you to pick up an iron and smash it across their head because of something they said that triggered your anger. Imagine you only did it to punish them because you were angry. But imagine you actually struck that family member of yours, that wife of yours, that husband of yours. Then all of a sudden, you look into their eyes go blank, and they fall dead in front of you. How would you feel? It's probably most definitely 99% out of those listening never happened. But what are you waiting for? Do you want it to happen? And then you want to listen to what I'm saying? No. Let's put a scenario together. So I'm going back now to what I'm saying. Imagine you did that. Imagine you actually struck the person you love with a very heavy object, struck them to the head, their eyes went blank, and they fell dead in front of you. Now your mind is completely clear, and you're probably thinking, what have I done? Are you really ready for change? Are you ready to commit to releasing yourself from this prison called anger? Let's look at a few steps on how we can alleviate this challenge from our lives, and hopefully we'll continue on to be better people. The first step to overcoming anger is recognizing you're an angry person. Recognizing that you're angry, and more importantly, anger is not your friend. Your anger will never lead you to success. Now, compare that to human terms. I heard a case about a man who unfortunately fell to his anger in a very bad way. He and his wife were eating at a restaurant in a hotel in Dubai, and a group of people were taking pictures in the restaurant. He felt somehow that his wife would be in those pictures because they were taking them very carelessly, and he approached the person taking pictures, demanding him to stop, and he refused to do so. So, he struck that man. And as you may guess from the previous discussion, the man did indeed drop dead. Now what? Is it too late to admit you are angry? The wise amongst people not only learn from their own mistakes, but they learn from the mistakes of others. So the key word here is recognition. Once you recognize you have problems with your anger, you can see the problem for what it is. First step, be very honest. Be honest that you can see that anger is causing problems in your life and is, how can I say, a loss-causing investment. Recognizing that anger is a fluctuating state of mind that, if not controlled, can lead to a lifetime of misery to yourself and others around you. Recognize that if you remain this way and it isn't controlled, it may get much worse down the line. Recognize that it's a natural reaction to be angry, but it only needs one commitment from your side, management, not an opinion, and don't panic. Two effective ways to put things clearly in life is to ask a lot of questions, write them down, and answer them if you really are truthful in solving your challenge to win over anger. Now that you recognize that you're angry, you have to know clearly what makes you angry. And what do you want to do to those people who make you angry? Do you want to hit them? Do you want to kill them? Severely injure them? If your answer is yes, then answer the following questions. Who will suffer as a result of those wishes, if in the event you did carry them out? What are the consequences if you killed someone? Will the family be affected? Will you lose your family? Will you lose your freedom? The answer, of course, is yes. If you love someone and you beat them up and then afterwards regretted it, do you honestly expect them to believe that they're going to be in a happy relationship with you? Do you expect them that after you beat them, cause damage to their body and put so much fear into them that they should love you with all their heart? Imagine it was someone who didn't even put up a fight with you because they feared you or wasn't strong enough to fight you. Just imagine now where all these questions are leading you to discover. Not convinced? Then I'll ask you a real question. If you could give your mind to an evil person to control you according to their desire, knowing they could make you kill and destroy your life, would you give your mind away like that? Does that sound like a good deal to you? Well, we all did that anyway, by not recognizing we are prisoners of anger, when anger should be our prisoner. You have to consider what causes you anger. In my case, for example, I was bullied by various people as a child, and I was too scared or powerless to defend myself. This caused me to be angry, and it does until this day. Imagine you have a colleague at work that caused you anger, and your management will not take any form of action against that colleague. You feel a strong sense of injustice happen to you. Imagine you get bullied by someone in school, and physically he's stronger than you, and there's nothing you can do about it, right? Well, with memories like that plaguing our lives, it's no wonder that when something like that happens, again, it brings out that anger in us. And while I hate to say it, it remains like it's permanently there. You can't control its influence on you though. What causes me anger? Well, being spoken to in a rude way is a start. Being made fun of. Being stared at by groups of people, and then they start talking about me under their breath. I guess a lot of things make me angry, especially in traffic and crowded places. I have great difficulties going to them. Do you understand the word trigger? Well, consider the trigger like a button that was pushed, and now you became angry. What was the trigger? A way the person spoke to you? Frustration built up because of continuous miscommunication. One thing that may be certain is something has gone past the line and caused you to break out in anger. So now that I wrote down the things that causes me anger, why don't you take the time to write down the things that causes you anger? If you really did write them down, it shows that you're beginning to take this journey seriously. Well done. Step 3. Protect yourself from falling into rage. Rage is a stage that, if not controlled, can lead to disaster. Rage is an intense form of anger, and thoughts are racing. It's like a swarm of bats. Can you control a swarm of bats? Well, you'll need a big net and speed of the flash. So I guess we can forget that part. But we can look at a different step, which is possible for humans to do, and that is train the brain. But how? The mind relies on repetition and mental reinforcement. Now think like you're going to the gym. If you were to think about going to the gym, the first 2 or 3 days can be the toughest because you'll be required to break your routine, which is laziness. Now with anger, I propose a different scenario, but same technique. Write down 3 scenarios that could happen if you were completely angry. What's the worst that could happen? Well, actually, it's interesting because recently there was a case in the newspaper about a bus driver who argued with another bus driver. They were colleagues, and he was completely angry, so he committed an act of arson and burned down the bus. But 11 other vehicles went up in flames. The end result? He was caught before trying to flee the country. Lesson learned? He could have taken taken 5, drank some water, and took time out. Instead, rage took over him, and boom! Now, the fact you heard this story from me may have affected you and made you think carefully about what may happen to you as a result. Now, imagine you read that story for the next 10 days. How do you think the brain will absorb that? Well, you may be surprised to hear that next time you get angry, the story will enter your mind, and it may help you to actually think clearly about your situation. Give it a shot. I'd love to hear it worked rather than didn't work, as no one will be there to grab you at the time of rage, to stop you from doing something you may regret. It would be wise if you breathe more, because this is the process that will help you to lower the racing thoughts and impulsiveness of rage. And one more thing, flee the scene, walk away. The only strange thing is leave the location of where the rage occurred, because I found out that sticking around is where the problem lies. In conclusion, I really do hope you find this helped you, and that you're on the road to becoming a reformed person. This episode is a part of my self-help series called Once Again Inspirations. This is because I believe we can live free and prosperous again, be happy once again, and regain what we lost in this life once again. Thank you and take care.